Hello guys! So today we have a video on how to read notes. And since I'm not at home, I don't have my little whiteboard, so I tried to write this nice and big for you, but here's something for you to screenshot. Okay, so the first thing that we are going, and this is in relation to learning the notes in relation to playing the violin, okay? Because you can learn the notes and you can learn how to, like, you know, that's an A, that's a C, that's whatever, but then you have no idea where that is on the instrument. So we're going to be learning the notes in relation to where they are on the instrument. But first, let's just figure out a little strategy for learning the actual names of the notes. I'll do this really quickly. So up here, you have what are called the space notes because they're in a space, you see? And there's actually one right down here which I left out. It's actually right there. I left it out because I wanted us to see this acronym. I'm not really sure if acronym's the right word. I think you know what I'm talking about. But the space notes spell face, except for this last little G at the top here. If you just disregard that. If you start at the bottom here, and you just go up the stairs in space notes, they spell the word face. And I've just put a sharp by the F sharps and the C sharps because we're going to be talking about the basic hand pattern. Okay, so these are our space notes. There's one other space up here that doesn't fit our little face thing, but it's right on top of E. So if this is E, F would be sitting on this top line, G is on top of the line. So I just figured I would include that. There's one down here which we didn't include. Let me just draw it in. I'm gonna have to do this looking at it. Oh, that's horrible. This note right down here is D. That would be your open D. But just remember, face is the inside spaces. Okay, next one we have is the line note, starting on this bottom line. If you've ever heard that little saying, every good boy does fine, there's an F sharp up there, basic hand pattern. That's what that's from. So you just start at the bottom, every good boy does fine. And then I added your third finger on the E string. See, this would be your first finger. Remember, here's E. This is your open E string. This is first finger on the E string. This is your second finger on the E string, and then this would be third finger. So one thing that might kind of help you is that the space notes are always your even fingers, at least in first position. It changes when you shift. So you have your open D, F sharp is the second finger, open A, second finger on a C sharp, open E, and then second finger on a G. So you're only ever using open 2 or fourth finger if you decide. Those are your even fingers for the space notes. Okay, now anytime you have a line note is going to be your odd fingers. So if we look here, this is our open D string. One note above on this first line here is E. That's your first finger on the D string. We had F sharp, that's second finger, right in this little space here. One note above F sharp is G, okay? So that's our little trick. Odd fingers are space notes, even fingers, no, I said that backwards. Odd fingers are your line notes, and even fingers are your space notes. So the other thing that would be really helpful is to know what your open strings look like. So your open strings are right here. You have open G, this is your lowest string, open D, open A, open E. Okay, so all of the notes that are in this range up until D, up until this open D string, all of these notes here will be on the G string. Anything that's on D or above until we get to A is on the D string. Anything that's on the A string up to E is on the A string. Anything from A, I should say, up to E is on the A string. And then anything up from E until this note right here is on the E string. Okay, so that's our little range. So if you have an E, you could have an E that's here. I should probably get a different color. Let me grab a different color. All right. Oh no, that's not, that won't work. Okay. Similar color, but slightly different. So let's say you're working with an E. So you have an E right here, and you also have an E right here. So how do you know where this E is and where this E is? They're both an E. Well, this E is all the way down here. So this can't possibly be on this string. This is open E. It has to be somewhere between D, because that's the lowest one here, besides G. It's not down here. It's on the first line, so D is right below that. So it has to be on the D string, somewhere in this range. All right, so if we know that this is D, the next note above D is that little line note right here, which is an E. All right, so that would be your first finger on the D string. Okay, if you have this E, oh, where is it? This E, this is all the way on open E. So right there, that's easy. Let's do another one. So let's say we have a B. Okay, so here's a B right here. And then there's another B right here, actually. We didn't talk about this one. This is your fourth finger on the E string. So I've got a B right here. That's your fourth finger. Okay, so if we're going to play a B, we could do this one, or we could do this one. What string is this one on? Let's look at our little range. We're on the 1, 2, 3, the third line. 1, 2, 3, so we're in this range here. So we're on the A string. Okay, this would be, here's A, B is right here. Next line up. So this is your first finger on the A string. Okay, let's do another one. So how about, did we do D? Forget. Let's do D. So here's the D, right? And then here's a D, right? You see how that says D right there? This is our open D. And then we have a D right here. So let's figure out, this one's easy. This one's just your open string, right? These are our open strings down here. This is your open D. But where is this one? This one is on, let's find the range. It's on the 1, 2, 3, fourth line. 1, 2, 3, fourth line here. So it's on the A string. And it's right here. Okay. You could also think, oh, well, here's E, and then one note behind E is D. So it would be the next little stair down. All right. So your notes are kind of, as you climb the staircase, you alternate, you know, with a space note, a line note, a space note, a line note, space note, line note. That's how we climb the stairs, is they alternate space notes and line notes. Okay, so now let's go ahead and draw the basic hand pattern over here so we can figure out where these go and what they sound like. So let's see. Just bear with me for one moment. All right, here's our strings, right? And you know our basic hand pattern looks like this. So you've got your first finger a whole step up, second finger is a whole step up, third finger, half step, fourth finger, whole step, right? Here's our open. And a whole step up from G is A. Oop, I'm running out of ink. Let me just grab a pencil, because a pencil won't do this to me. We've got A, B, half step to C. There's D. This is the same as open D. You have E, F sharp, G, A, same as open A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and B. All right, so let's go over here and let's figure out where A is. So there's a few A's, right? There's actually an A down here, which we haven't even talked about yet, but let's do the easy ones first. So let's start with open A, because there's an open A. So where is this on the staff? So it really helps if you remember, if you can memorize where your open strings are. Open A's here. If you can't remember that, remember, well, I guess we'd have to know if it was a space note or a line note. You can remember our little acronyms. Face, right, has an A in it. Every Good Boy Does Fine doesn't have an A in it. Okay, so maybe that will jog your memory that A is right there. Okay, there's another A though. There's another A all the way over here. It's on the E string, right? We have this range here. We have E, F sharp, G, and A. So this A right here is your third finger. 1, 2, 3 on the E string. Okay, so there's another A all the way down here. We haven't talked about this one yet. So this is one note above open G. So here's open G down here. So we need to go up one stair. So we're still gonna have 2 ledger lines. 1, 2, it's just not gonna be below it, it's gonna be on it, on that bottom line. You see, here's 1 ledger line, 2 ledger lines, and then there's A right there, right on the line. So we've gone up 1 stair, okay? So this is just a brief intro, I guess. The next step would be to try to take maybe 1 string at a time, like the A string, because that's quite a common string, and the E string for you to start learning on, like in the Suzuki books. Take this string here, make a staff, and draw all of the notes in this range. So we have A, we've got B, we already have D there, but we're missing C. So C is right here on this space. And those are all of the notes. We need to put a C sharp there because in our pattern, we're playing a C sharp. Those are all of the notes, A, B, C sharp, D, and we could use 4th finger E, right? So these are all of the notes. That's what they look like. They will always look like this. They'll always be this range on the A string. And then just try to quiz yourself. So for example, open A is a space note, 2nd space from the bottom. B is a line note, 3rd line from the bottom. C sharp, you might want to also know like where that is, the position. So you could say C sharp is 2 whole steps up from A if you wanted to be really precise about it, right? And it's 1, 2, 3 space notes from the bottom. D is 1, 2, 3, 4 line notes from the bottom. You could think this is my 3rd finger, open 1, 2, 3 on the A string. And then E, 1, 2, 3, 4th space note from the bottom. It's the top of face, right? F-A-C-E, it's the top of face. It's an open string, but I could also play it with the 4th finger on the A string. So things like that will kind of really help you to read the notes. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just start reading really simple things. You know, don't try to go read anything too complicated. Suzuki Book 1 is a great place to start practicing reading the notes. Don't get in the habit of reading fingerings, like thinking of open A as 0 and B as 1. think of the name of the note, because as you progress, you're gonna have accidentals, you're gonna have C naturals, you're gonna have C sharps. But if you're just thinking 2 is too low, is too high, where is 2? But if you're thinking C sharp, you know that position. So think the name of the note, don't think the fingering. Okay, and if you have thought about the fingering, that's fine. I began thinking about fingerings as well. And they're, you know, it's nice to kind of see how they relate numerically and kind of pattern-wise, but definitely do know the name of the note that you're playing. You should just, you know, should be super easy. All right, so that's all. I think this is going to be an unedited video. I think I'm going to just upload this. We'll see. It may be edited. Anyway, mwah. Bye guys. See you soon.